We hereby declare you guilty. For taking part and cooperating in the killings of innocent, we sentence you to death.
This is a film adapted from real events, Plan A, a shocking revenge conspiracy carried out by a group of Jewish survivors. In 1945, Nazi Germany announced its unconditional surrender, marking the end of World War II. The Jewish man Max returns to his former home, hoping to see whether his wife and children have also come back. Sadly, his property has long been taken over by the Germans who once persecuted him, and his wife and children never returned.
Just because the war is over doesn't mean we cannot kill Jews anymore.
Max walks alone through this once familiar place, isolated and lost, with nothing but darkness ahead, and he does not even know where he should go. He draws portraits of his wife and children on the wall, trying to give himself a small sense of comfort. A wandering old man approaches him and starts a conversation, saying that his entire family is dead as well, leaving only himself behind.
Nobody can kill me!
This place used to be a Jewish synagogue and the location where Max held his wedding, but now it has been reduced to ruins. The old man hears that there is a refugee camp in Tarvisio that has taken in many Jews, and perhaps Max's wife and children are among them, so the two of them set off on the journey together. After traveling day and night, they are starving, and the old man suddenly smells the scent of cooked meat. It turns out a small military unit is resting by the roadside, and the old man boldly goes over to steal some food. Max has long been terrified of soldiers, so he can only hide quietly behind a tree. However, a patrolling soldier named Michael notices him and tells Max not to be afraid, saying they are a brave Jewish brigade and no one here will harm Jews. Max and the old man are taken onto a truck, and the Jewish brigade transports them to Tarvisio. These soldiers of the Jewish brigade all come from Palestine, and Michael warmly invites Max to join their unit. But Max only wants to find his wife and children first, so he refuses Michael's invitation. That night, Michael takes Max to a place where they are interrogating a former Nazi, but the man refuses to say anything. Max offers Michael an idea, suggesting they try to use the man's children to awaken his conscience. Sure enough, once the man sees a glimmer of hope, he writes down the names of all former Nazis, but Michael does not let him go.
You promised!
Michael shows Max all this because he wants him to know that they are taking revenge for their murdered people, but Max does not care about any of that, because all he wants is to find his wife and children. Michael also promises him that his name will definitely be on the evacuation list tomorrow. While Max is eating, a woman approaches him holding a portrait. The woman tells Max that his wife and children were buried alive by the Nazis. At that moment, Max feels nothing but grief and despair, and he makes a decision. As the evacuees begin boarding the trucks one after another, Max instead seeks out Michael and says he wants to join them, because he wants revenge. Seeing the determination in Max's eyes, Michael agrees to let him join and brings him a military uniform. On the surface, Michael follows orders from the British Army, but in secret, they are carrying out their own mission. They belong to Haganah, the Jewish military organization seeking a homeland. However, they follow two rules. The first rule is that they never act when children or family members are present. The second rule is that intelligence on a suspect must come from more than one source, with at least two confirmations proving the person is indeed a former Nazi. Using their British military status as cover, they begin arresting the former Nazis on the list.
You recognize this man?
He was the head of Block 11 in Majdanek.
Smashed a newborn baby to the wall.
Head of the guards at the Dachau concentration camp.
Shot two Jewish families hiding in the attic. SS guard at the women camp in Bergen-Belsen concentration
In
camp.
the name of our brothers and sisters,
We hereby sentence you to death.
The revenge plan unfolds silently, and Max's heart finally finds a brief release. But one day, they suddenly discover that the former Nazi they were searching for has been hanged from a tree. This instantly brings back memories for Max, because in the concentration camp, his people were hung the same way, left there until their bodies were torn apart and they died. The letters carved into the Nazi's body are an abbreviation for a Jewish extremist group, the Avengers. It becomes clear that someone else is doing the same thing they are. That night, the Jewish brigade captures another former Nazi, forces him to dig his own grave, and asks whether he admits his crimes.
no one is innocent. Not me, not you.
Keep digging.
Because these members of the Jewish brigade all come from Palestine, by the time they arrived at the battlefield, World War II was already over, so the commander asks Max, saying that in the camps there were at most only 100 guards watching you, while you had thousands of people. So why didn't you resist? Did you really just line up and slowly walk toward death? Max does not know how to answer. He asks the commander for a gun, because this time he wants to take revenge with his own hands. Michael steps forward to stop Max, fearing that this will twist his mind forever. Taking advantage of the chaos, the Nazi knocks the commander down with a shovel and escapes toward the depths of the forest. The forest is pitch black, and the Nazi quickly disappears without a trace. The Jewish brigade splits up to pursue him, but Max is suddenly tackled to the ground by the fleeing man. Weakened by years of malnutrition, Max is no match at all, and he is pinned down and brutally rubbed into the dirt. Suddenly, a dark figure leaps onto the man and strangles him to death with bare hands. Max then realizes that the attacker is actually a woman, and behind her, more figures slowly emerge from the darkness. They are the Avengers, and their leader is Zvi. His entire family was slaughtered during World War II, and after escaping alone, he became the leader of an underground resistance group. In the first half of 1945, Zvi formed a secret organization called the Avengers. However, their path is different from that of the Jewish brigade, because one seeks revenge, while the other seeks nationhood. As a result, the two sides part ways and go in completely opposite directions, but Zvi warns Michael not to interfere with them. In Michael's eyes, however, the Avengers will sooner or later become a serious problem, because the Avengers believe that every German is guilty, and they want to kill not only war criminals, but all German civilians. Michael and his men, on the other hand, want to rebuild a nation and give the Jewish people a country of their own. Moreover, both sides' assassinations of former Nazis have already been exposed. Not only have former Nazis in the region mysteriously disappeared, but the British Army has also reassigned the Jewish brigade to Belgium. So Michael hopes that Max can infiltrate the Avengers, because they are definitely planning something big in Nuremberg. If Max can uncover the Avengers' true objective, they will be able to stop them. Only then will the world grant them land, a country that truly belongs to them.
Part of the Haganah now. I'll see you in Nuremberg.
Max arrives in Nuremberg alone and writes the name of the Avengers on the walls. After days of waiting, he finally sees the woman who saved him in the forest. He follows her all the way to an apartment, but is captured by her companions. Max reveals the identification number burned into his skin in the concentration camp, and Anna and Zvi immediately recognize him. However, they do not easily trust Max, allowing him to stay for one night and leave the next morning. That night, Max is awakened by murmuring in sleep, and it turns out Anna is having another nightmare. Taking the opportunity, Max notices several marked locations on their map, including Nuremberg. Early the next morning, the members of the Avengers begin to leave, and Max follows them. It turns out the municipal water plant is hiring workers, and Max successfully blends in. He lies and claims to be a water engineering specialist, successfully securing a position at the filtration center. That is exactly the place Anna and the others need access to. No one suspects him at all. The filtration center is the heart of the city's entire water supply system, and the plant is rushing repairs so normal water capacity can be restored. After work, Max meets Michael and tells him the general intentions of the Avengers. They have small teams operating in several major German cities, and the scale of this revenge operation is massive. Michael urges Max to uncover the Avengers' true objective and earn Zvi's trust. Otherwise, if their plan succeeds, the reputation of the Jewish people will completely collapse. The world will view them through a different lens, and the idea of rebuilding a nation will become impossible. But gaining Zvi's trust is far from easy. Just as Max is thinking about what to do next, Zvi suddenly leaves with his luggage. Max desperately wants to know what Zvi is up to, and can only look for answers through Anna. Anna is more willing to trust Max, someone who has suffered under Nazi cruelty, and she reveals Zvi's plan A. They intend to poison the entire city through the water supply system. They refuse to wait for others to judge those guilty men, because the pain still flows through their veins, and they no longer want to live like this.
An eye for an eye. 6 million for 6 million.
To gain Anna's full trust, Max works himself to the brink of collapse until he is taken away to rest. He also takes the chance to sketch a rough blueprint of the water supply system. This time, Anna fully believes Max, and they begin planning the poisoning operation. Anna also reveals Zvi's destination, because poison cannot be obtained in Europe. He has gone to Palestine.
I'm looking for a substance, something very powerful, thing that has no taste and no smell, and leaves no trace behind.
The water system is fully repaired, but there is still no word from Svi. Watching children gulp down water with joy on their faces, Anna cannot help but think of her own family. To comfort Anna, Max takes her to the cinema. The last time Anna watched a movie was before the war, when her family was still by her side. But now she is completely alone. As they enter the theater, the screen shows scenes of victory, and everything seems to return to a peaceful era. But suddenly the images shift, and painful events resurface one by one.
During the war, the Nazis maintained some 250 concentration camps and exterminated an estimated 10 million civilians and prisoners of war. Various methods of killing were used.
Anna can no longer bear to watch, but Max holds her down and forces her to keep looking. No one is allowed to forget deeply engraved national hatred, because forgetting means betrayal. Michael finds Max again, telling him they are running out of time. Now the Americans, the British, the Russians, and the French are dividing up Germany like a birthday cake. They can no longer afford to wait, because if they fail to stop the Avengers, they will gain absolutely nothing. Max says he still has not earned full trust, and perhaps even he himself cannot tell whether he has begun to share the same thoughts as the Avengers. The two part ways on bad terms. The next day, the Avengers receive a newly mailed letter from Svi, but suddenly there is a knock on the door, and Haganah has already arrived. They climb out of the building along a ladder, only to be blocked by Michael and his men, because he can no longer wait. To protect everyone's safety, Max hands Michael the letter sent by Svi, using it as proof that Svi is still in Palestine and that he has not succeeded yet. Michael explains to them what revenge truly means, which is living better so that the next generation can live without fear. He gives them two choices. One is to hand them over to Haganah, and the other is to leave immediately, because of what they see as Max's cowardly betrayal. All the members are filled with rage, but Max takes out another letter, explaining that the one he gave Michael was from Svi's previous mailing. The letter sent today states that Svi has already obtained the poison and is on his way back, and the revenge plan is about to be carried out. Tasks are quickly assigned, with some members notifying teams in other cities, others going to meet Svi, while Max is ordered to stay behind. But Anna hesitates. She wants to leave and go to the place they are meant to go. After hearing Michael's words and seeing those innocent children, she is deeply shaken. She does not want to kill innocent children, and she no longer wants to witness death. She asks Max to leave with her, but Max refuses, because he has his own plan now. Max waits until Svi returns, and then the two of them carry their backpacks toward the water plant. However, Michael's men secretly follow them. Max asks for the backpack containing the poison, telling Svi to lure the others away while he completes the mission alone. He finally reaches the filtration center, and Michael catches up to him. Because of their opposing beliefs, the two engage in a violent fight, and this time Max wins. He opens all the bottles of poison and pours them into the water. Having already avenged his wife and children, Max no longer has the will to live, and he jumps into the water himself. The entire city falls into silence, with bodies covering the ground. There are good people and bad people, old people and children, but almost all of them are innocent civilians. Max never goes a day without thinking about what would have happened if Plan A had truly been carried out.
I often think about the poison flowing through the veins of Germany.
Max is jolted out of his thoughts as someone walks through the door, and it turns out to be Michael.
Help me stop this.
Max still tells Michael Svi's route, and Svi is captured on a ship. However, Svi throws away the backpack containing the poison, leaving no evidence, and after several months in custody, he is released. The Avengers Plan B then begins. The film ends. Max returns home, because living a good life becomes his revenge. The pain suffered by the Jewish people is something no one who has not lived through it can ever truly understand. But taking an eye for an eye, and seeking revenge by killing 6 million innocent people, is an extreme path no different from the Nazis themselves. Although Plan A ultimately fails, Plan B makes the Germans in the camps pay a price they deserve. Who could ever forget such national hatred and personal loss? Just like the words spoken at the very beginning of the film.
What if I told you that your family was murdered? Just imagine for a minute.